Hello Starseeds, welcome to Source Energetics. My name is Ashtara, mission to bring you some of the highest frequency content, and today I'm bringing you a pick a card reading on the next paradigm shift that is occurring through this 1111 portal. And whenever you're watching this reading is timeless, but I'm actually specifically focusing on the new waves of energetics that are anchoring through the day of 1111 that is occurring in this month. And even if you're watching this at a later time, whatever experiences that you're occurring is what came through this portal of 1111. And for you, maybe it has a specific different meaning, and that's all up to you to integrate. But know that this transcends the linear structure of time, yet it really signals to the profound shifts that are anchoring through this grid. So here are the card piles. If you like to go straight ahead to the card reading, you can go ahead and do that. All of the timestamps will be linked down below. But if you want to stick around for this energy centering and grounding meditation that I'll quickly guide us through, then you can feel free to stick around for that. So just starting off with full deep breaths, you can close your eyes if that makes you feel comfortable. You can softly and gently have a gaze if you prefer that. And arrive at your heart space, just with that simple intention of tuning into the powerful frequency of your heart. You arrive at your heart space and allowing this energy of your heart to override any lesser patterns of being, lesser frequencies. Breathing. Grounding your energy to the crystalline core of the earth and noticing what frequencies, light codes the earth is holding today for you. And through this transition, all of the supportive energies are found from this central crystalline core of the earth. So retrieving this support, retrieving these energies and letting go, releasing anything that is not in alignment with the higher refined blossoming of your self, your evolution, connecting with your sovereign source level of being, your source field, and crystallizing in your highest self, your angelic realms of the purest frequency, your galactic teams of the purest frequency, all of the elements of your existence. In their highest refined frequencies. Your guidance team of the purest frequencies. Your ascension councils of the purest frequencies, invoking in concentric divine protection of light. Breathing. And I'm requesting that the highest level of guidance, messages, and frequencies, information, and calibration comes through this reading for you to assist you and provide support for your path. So, let's start. Hello Starseeds who chose pile number 1 and the Goddess deck. This is going to be your reading let's get into what your messages are. Some of the cards are pre-shuffled and selected, and some of them I will interpret as I go. So first you have the Empress. Then you have the element of Earth. Then you have the Lovers. And now let me just shuffle for some of the goddess archetypes. We have Boundaries, Ishtar. Concentrated Intention, Diana. What is this word? Hogar, Vesta. I don't know what that means. Yeah, unfortunately. What is Hogar? Okay, we have Healing, Curandera. Returning, Going with the Flow. Self-worth, self-love, self-value, self-respect. Destiny Path, Omnia Unus Est. Then the three of the animal cards you have is Panther Spirit, Reclaim Your Power. Rhino Spirit, Overcome Any Obstacle. Cat Spirit, Claim Your Independence. And Frog Spirit, Clear Out the Clutter. So with this Hogar card, you know, the reason why I don't know what it means is that it's in Spanish and I don't know what it means. So let me search it. It means home. I just Googled it. Hogar means home. So, let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and shuffle some of the tarot cards. Ooh, we have the 10 of Pentacles. Nice. We have the 3 of Pentacles. Very grounded energy. And we have the element of Earth here, so it's starting to make sense. It's really, let me start by saying this. It's really about you integrating your spiritual reality and all of the energetic sovereignty that you have and learning how to ground that into the physical realm. And this is something that you realize that you have to do. You get to do this, yet there's no one else that's going to do this for you. So it's a moment of empowerment, but you start to realize that every intention that you hold and every choice that you make combined with the intention that you hold on the physical plane creates these boundaries and these sacred space for your spiritual reality to thrive and prosper. And I don't necessarily see that you've done that so far in your life yet. It's like you have this very rich spiritual reality. You have this very sacred space that you nurture on the spiritual realm, even your mental and emotional realm, but you have yet to really understand how to manifest that into the physical plane. And again, there's nobody else that's gonna do this for you. So you might have this period of like trial and error where you feel totally thrown off and you're gonna have to face this split reality between like the moments where your environment does nourish for those spiritual realms to prosper in your current experience. And then if something goes out of control, all of a sudden you're thrown back into this other split reality, like oil and water, and you're learning how to build your material reality so that you consistently have this structure for yourself. And this is where that kind of christened consciousness comes into play. And that's really the energy of a crystal divine masculine, energy of discernment, having very clear focus around what you allow into your life and what you tolerate even from yourself, and how you choose to navigate through the decisions that you make around your physical reality, and the boundaries that you have between yourself and your physical 3D reality. And so you're really, really getting to know the element of the earth and learning what it's like to have a very divine relationship with this planetary existence. And it's not something that you wait for somebody to come and help you with. You realize that you're the only person who has the power to create this for yourself. And the foundation of this, first of all, is self-love and self-worth and self-value and self-respect, and understanding how it's like to really relate to yourself as if you would relate to your higher self. It's like, can you really connect with yourself as if you're treating yourself like you're your higher self? Do you have that level of self-respect? Do you have that level of self-value and self-love? And self-love is not just some cliche term for the new age or some kind of personal development fad, but the true sense of self-love, and one of the ways that you can perceive it, is to relate yourself as the sacredness that you are. And when you come to that realization of the sheer fact of it, the sheer truth of it, and it's not complicated, it's just a very visceral realization of the truth, because you really are your divine self. And when you completely live from a realized state of that truth, which you can't fake understanding that truth, you can't fake self-love, because that understanding of knowing yourself as an expression of divine, or that clear connection that you have with the source level of yourself, and kind of witnessing the narratives and paradigms that play out when you're disconnected from that truth. And every time you experience that disconnection, you can choose to connect with that truth, that you are a divine embodiment or a conduit of divine energy. And it's not something you can fake. But once you truly tap into that on a consistent basis, and that's the boundaries of, like, yeah, you could steer off of it, but then you'll continually, consistently be able to observe when you are out of alignment with that, and be there for yourself to bring yourself back to the truth of reality, which is that you are a divine being. And this is part of your divine path of unfoldment. So let me, before I interpret too much out of this, let me go ahead and pull some more cards. We have the four, it's all earthly. So in this next paradigm is where you really see the truth around material reality. And it's not something you can learn from a bunch of books or learn from a guru or a teacher, but this true realization of the mechanics of physical reality is only something that you can experience for yourself. Somewhat like how your higher self connection or soul connection can't be made on your behalf. It's only realized from the true experience of what it is for you. And just like how the highest states of bliss, it can't be kind of taught how to achieve that state. It has to be truly resonant from your personal experience. So even this mastery of the material realm, sure, there are a lot of pointers out there, or many different people who have cultivated this authentic divine connection to the physical material reality, and you can kind of peep into their lens or peep into their perspective. But the true experience of connecting the divine to this physical reality, it has to be realized on your own, and it has to be chosen from your every single intention and decision that you get to make, especially on those worst days, especially on those low moments where things just don't make sense. And the divinity of the truth about physical reality just doesn't make much sense to you. Those are the moments where you choose to see and experience the highest level of truth, where you are empowered, and it's a constant choice. We have let it rain, allowing what is, inevitability, and trust. So there is this profound healing between you and your destiny path, or your kind of divine soul mission, that you had this disconnect between, you understand that this is in your path, you understand that certain elements are there, but you just didn't understand how it kind of connects to the physical, tangible reality that you're currently living. And that's the aspect that you're learning to heal, and you're training yourself to have a genuine planetary union with your beingness to the planetary being. So you're gonna get to know the frequency of Earth. And I don't even think that you had this genuine curiosity to truly understand the profound connection that you have with this planetary sphere. And it's not just about like, oh, I feel like grounding, oh, I love nature, I love the elements. It is so much deeper than that. It is really around how you can't really fake when you're interested in another person. Imagine that you're on a date, or imagine that you're meeting a new person, casual chatting, and the genuine interest that you can have in that person, it can't be faked. If you're interested, genuinely interested, you're interested, and you want to find out more about that person, and the conversation will flow in a way that you're genuinely curious about that person. And it's the same thing with this earthly existence. I almost feel like until this moment, you were not that open-minded to actually understand planet Earth. And not in a way that you can read from a bunch of new age books like, oh, Gaia, the fifth dimensional ascension of Gaia. Like, no. But what does this planet genuinely mean for you and your soul? And how does your energetic configuration and all of your spiritual realities connect to this planet that you are on? So with this, you're going to get a profound connection with the planetary wave, and this unlocks a new sense of your soul mission and connection with your soul team. People, earthly humans who walk around, who are genuinely part of your soul team, and you're gonna start to seriously see the divinity of the mechanics of physical reality, and specifically the physical reality of the Earth, because there could be physical experiences in other planetary realms or other stellar systems, or even just on systems of living that we're not consciously aware of at this moment. There's lots of different systems of existence that we're currently incapable of relating to, but in any case, there's a lot of ways that physical reality can manifest. But on this planet Earth, in this collective reality, and in this kind of configuration of how we're set up to experience physical reality on this planet Earth at this point of time, is very unique in the way that it harnesses this divine energy to a point where sometimes it's completely confusing that it is really unified with the spiritual realm. That's how confusing it is if you take a look around, and how confused everybody is, and how abandoned everybody feels. And when I say everyone, I just mean the masses of the human collective. And if you're watching this type of material and if you're resonating with this type of transmission, then most likely your abandonment wound from the divine isn't as severe as how a lot of people feel on this planet Earth. If you ever tune into the collective abandonment wound of humanity in general, it's very severe, very painful. And a lot of people on Earth feel very disconnected and abandoned from the divine. And sometimes to a point where they don't even realize that they feel abandoned from a higher power. But that's really like how strange this mechanics is on Earth. But the core truth is that regardless of how it seems, there is a pristine and precise and mathematical unity between this earthly reality here and the spiritual unity of things. And you're finally open to actually see the truth about that and how it unfolds itself. And that's not something that anyone can teach you, but is only activated with your genuine willingness to understand what it is. And at first, it may come with a bunch of purging, a bunch of confusion, a bunch of activations that you can't really decode, but eventually it just kind of will smooth out and settle itself into a paradigm that you can understand. So this is what's occurring for you through this 1111 portal, and the ripple effect of this portal. And as I sense into this 1111 portal, it's so historically potent. And the new streams of activations and paradigms that you're going to anchor in through this portal, it's going to ripple for ages to come. So it's not just about this month, it's not just about the next year, but this is like a good, I would say 4 to 5 year cycle, especially for you and understanding the divinity of earthly reality and truly getting to the core of, first of all, trusting this path that you're on to figure that out, and kind of transmuting this collective disconnect of the physical earthly reality versus the spiritual, and really being aligned and grooving to the planetary wave and having this level of intimacy with the planetary sphere of Earth. And actually this on a deeper level calibrates you to this Palladian grid. And that's something that just naturally occurs when you figure out the mechanics of this Earth. And of course it activates other kind of planetary resonances and stellar resonances to other star systems, but on a very tangible level, it'll really activate you to the Palladian and also this Lemurian way of life. And from this space, you're gonna start to be able to materialize this tangible fertility, nurturance, practical, grounded abundance and material existence that parallels your spiritual thriving. And this is part of your destiny. This is part of your dedication and devotion. And I feel like this is something that you've been avoiding for a long time. Also for divine timing reasons, like there was no better time to actually activate this level of understanding. And I believe that you just had to be equipped with the right set of tools and discernment to be able to really read into the planetary wisdom at this point. And you're gonna create this level of home for your divine sacred spirituality to dwell in. And it's really about claiming your power. It's really about there's a lot of messages around reclaiming and claiming and purifying obstacles and clutter that you may not necessarily know how you're gonna clear out, this energetic debris or obstacles that you've been lugging around to a point where it's as if you've been hiking up the mountain with a massive backpack full of rocks and you didn't even realize that it was there. And it's like letting go of that and realizing that you're actually free to let go of those burdens. It really feels like you're tapping into the knowing that when you let go of those energetic burdens of everything that you've been carrying, instead of needing to figure out how you're going to let go of those things, but when you energetically let go of that burden, it'll figure itself out so that it doesn't stay in your life anymore. So whatever obstacles or issues that are bothering you, I feel that this is part of how you're going to really figure out this mechanics of this earthly reality, that you choose not to be bothered by these illusory obstacles and challenges and issues that literally plague the human mind. I feel like I need more cards. Okay, that one. Breath is a significant tool of how you're really navigating through all of this. Just remember that breath coupled with a focused intention is one of your most powerful toolkits when it comes to, say, releasing these obstacles and understanding how to direct earthly energy to your heart's path. And there is this consistent message around trusting the flow and going with the flow. So there's a part of you that is very resistant to, and I bet when you listen to this, you're going to be like, no, I'm not like that. I get it. But I'm sure that in a part of your mind, you're going to be like, I love going with the flow. But there's a part of you that doesn't. And we're addressing that little segment in your mind or your psyche that doesn't want to go with the flow. And yes, you may already love to go with the flow for many different things in your life, but there's a part of you that doesn't trust to go with the flow for certain things. It's as if you almost need to have certainty that something is either going to work out in a specific way, or that you need to know the specific details to how something will occur. And this could come out as over planning or overthinking about certain decisions that you are guided to make. But you need to really learn to trust, first of all, your overall, whatever you choose, that will be the right decision. And there really is no wrong decision. It's really more about the vibratory frequency of who you are. It's not about what choices are you specifically making, because those choices will calibrate themselves to your intention and frequency. So just keep that in mind. All that glitters. Treasure chest. New life and time to rest. You're gonna get some really high-level assistance when it comes to something that you're creating in this plane, or like this next milestone that you're going to step into. And I do sense that this milestone has a lot to do with material wealth, material freedom, material stability. This is really all about material, and you may be going through a time, or especially recently have been initiated with some very outdated beliefs, some very outdated feelings, some maybe ancestral perspectives around material reality or income or money, or just this existence. Maybe even your physical body, how you relate to your physical body is so relevant to, you know, money and resources as well. So that is really coming to a massive shift, and you're gonna get some very high level assistance with this. So whether it's that you get some sort of a mentor or a code transfer, energetic transfer from somebody who's already really established a good sense of this. But at the same time, you're co-creating each and every single element of this. So even the assistance that you're getting, it's not coming from a place of powerlessness where you need the external assistance, but it's like you choose to receive the assistance because this is what you consciously intend. So be open to assistance and be open to this kind of new shift that is occurring. This treasure chest card is one of the most auspicious cards. And if you see this repetitive imagery and symbol around material wealth and abundance. So this isn't just something that is given to you as a windfall, but this is more like an entire way of life that you are learning to create on this physical plane. And that can't be undone once you tap into this new paradigm that was always authentic to your soul, and that you are gonna be in service of embodying that paradigm, which really is Venusian in nature. This way of relating with material reality with all this sensuality and pleasure is very Venusian, and you have a very strong connection with Venusian realms and even this physical incarnation in Venus, which would be more fifth dimensional in nature. And yes, there's like a spectrum of physicality to the fifth dimension, and you're learning to anchor that through this reality. And there was that conflict of always knowing that physical existence can feel like authentically home for yourself, and this is when you're starting to unleash your ability to remember that soul aspect and anchor it through this reality. And it's a lasting paradigm, like a new paradigm. It's not just 1 year or not just one event, but it's just an entire way of being, entire way of relating, entire way of mastering the physical dimension. Okay, so that was your reading. I hope that this has been helpful. Thank you so much for spending time with me here and receiving these transmissions, and I'll see you in another pile or in another video. Sending lots of love. Bye. Hello, Starseeds who chose pile number 2 or the Healing Angels Oracle. This is going to be a reading. Some of the cards are pre-shuffled and some of them I will shuffle as I go. So, pre-shuffle cards is See Beyond the Past. And this being the first card is very significant that you gotta see beyond the past. You keep projecting the past into the future, but your past is your past. And there were variables and circumstances that produced the results of the past that you can learn why those variables were there and what those variables were. But if you really observe your present circumstances, the variables have totally shifted. So you have to stop projecting your past into the future and creating stories about how your life is based on what happened in the past. We have now Attract Through Glow, which I am not sure what that card is about, so I'm actually gonna read that. That is 18. Enhance your relationship with others, and in doing so, live a more fulfilling version of ourselves. When we are seen, heard, and respected by others, we not only feel amazing, we glow more intensely. So you're being challenged to glow up and attract. So instead of dimming your light, this is around amplifying your light. In the moments where you feel like you need to dim and hide, it's calling you to do the opposite thing and glow and amplify. So I see this 2 cards coming up where it says see beyond the past, it's like you've had experiences in the past where when you were just totally being yourself and totally expressing yourself, you were hurt and you were shut down. And this is a common experience for a lot of people. It's not just unique to you. It's a big chunk of how this society is built is by criticizing everybody. And I could see, like, especially if you were in some sort of like a Western school system where the media basically has brainwashed adolescents to judge each other. So if you like watch any of these movies that were produced in that past era, it's really about creating cliques and separating the friend groups and stuff, which if you actually watch the media that's produced in 2020s, 2023, 2022, and if you watch the TV shows or movies that are produced for the younger generation now, it's totally shifting that. And I could see it because sometimes I'll watch like Netflix and these shows that feature kids at school, or even if you watch like Euphoria or something, yeah, the message is a mixed bag of things, but the actual friend groups are kind of unified. They don't have cliques, they don't judge each other. And I'm like, wow, things are changing. People are changing the message. But back in the past, if you grew up around the time where if you watch like Mean Girls or Lizzie McGuire or that type of show, it's always about there's a bully. And I would literally sit there and reflect. I wonder if the reality of school systems are really like that, or is that being enforced by the media? And the reason why I'm bringing this up is that likely if you're getting this pile, you may have trauma from that kind of media or that kind of thinking around having cliques or judging people. So, you can really heal that by bringing awareness to it, even if that was a far distant past. Okay, we have Death, we have High Priestess. We have the Personality Triangle. So already this is really signaling to me about you healing your relationship with your personal ego, and that healthy ego that has boundaries and that knows its own limits, that is integrated with your higher self, versus that wounded ego. It's like you're coming into this integration of alchemizing your ego so that it is a tool for expression and it's a tool of individuality rather than something that is acting in reaction to the past. We have the Bee Spirit, sweet results await. Wolf Spirit, turn knowledge into wisdom. Watch and wait, Seahorse Spirit. Take time out, Brown Bear Spirit. So there's two cards around waiting and taking your time out. And witnessing all of this right now, your new paradigm is really about being able to shine and speak out and speak up and really express yourself. And there's a lot of promise entering into have you thrive in this way. And likely this is like generational, and likely this is multiple past lives where you were literally punished for sharing your light, or punished for sharing your individuality or expression, or punished for having this divine alignment. And this is the new paradigm where you're healing through every single aspect of that. But right now, as we speak, more is a time of waiting and being equipped with the right mindset and the right foundation so that you can continue on with this on the long run. We have Lakshmi, abundance, and then time. Again, another word around time. So one of the core key healing that you're doing around this expression is your relationship with time. And it's like you have this anxiety that you don't have enough time, or that you feel like it's too late for you to step into your full expression, or this kind of visibility. Actually, this is a good word to say that about visibility and how that really connects with abundance. A recognition and visibility, it connects with abundance, especially at this day and age. And I feel like you're going through these massive doubts around, it's kind of late for me to start doing this, or I don't have much time. It's like feeling as if you have to catch up to the trends or catch up to what everybody else is doing to express themselves. And it's really not around that. If you have this belief that you have to constantly catch up to the trends, or that you have to do what everybody else is doing to express themselves or have this level of visibility, then you're constantly going to be in this loop of feeling like you continuously have to catch up. So you have to, first of all, set the right foundations that you choose not to fall into that trap. And you know that when you're aligned and when you are activated in your authentic divine soul blueprint, then it can't help but be recognized for what it is. And you also have to really work with this level of shame of wanting to be recognized and wanting to be seen for who you are and what you are. It's a very valid desire to have. And there's a part of you that feels like that's just too egotistical, or that's just not for me. But there's a higher purpose for those who are being guided to really step into visibility or really step into this role of expression. There's a higher purpose to that. And at the end of the day, this willingness to be seen, or this willingness to be heard, or this desire to be recognized by others isn't really about external validation on a higher octave. It's about connection. And if you're vibrating at a consciousness that is truly at one with all of reality, with the creativity of existence, then the truth is that you'll be resonating with the entirety of the cosmic fabric, which would result on a physical level as being recognized for the expression of who you are. So this craving for recognition is on a higher level. It's around connection. It's about universal connection. But it's a byproduct of you actually resonating in universal connection. And it's valid to have that desire, but understand there's a hierarchy to why things manifest the way they do. And I'm not saying that everybody who is recognized for who they are is vibrating on unity consciousness. No, it's an algorithm that it's like a one-way thing. So when I explain a certain way that metaphysical expressions can take place, it's just one way that a manifestation can take place. But there's plenty of people who are not vibrating at a high frequency of unity consciousness that are able to completely be seen for who they are. But that's a different story. But there is a way that you can actually be completely recognized or be seen. And one of those ways is to tap into this unity consciousness. And I don't want to throw that word around because it's highly interweaved with misunderstanding of what unity consciousness really is. And it's one of the topics that I really want to have a rant about. So I hope to sit down and have a video riffing on about unity consciousness, and I think that's going to be helpful for a lot of people that you can resonate with. But if you really pay attention to people who truly had obtained unity consciousness, whether it's in an ancient civilization, whether it's in an extraterrestrial realm, whether it's in a higher dimensional configuration like the sun, for example, you can't miss the sun because you could see it literally illuminates our freaking every plane of existence from 12th dimension all the way through the first dimension. Like the sun penetrates it, is recognized for what it is. It doesn't just stay unnoticed for a reason, you know? And if you look at individuals who really truly vibrated in that unity consciousness, whether it be Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, or whatever deity or entity that embodied this understanding of unity consciousness, they were recognized for that reason. It's not something that they did. It's not a choice that they made, but it was a byproduct of vibrating in the very fabric of oneness. It plays out as being recognized. So there's no way that you can just go on and not be recognized. I mean, there maybe would be some examples of if somebody chose to stay in a cave and just vibrate in that, but that's just a very, I do believe that you had lifetimes like that. I literally see this. I mean, if that was the case, then they would have been known by other means. Like maybe all the bugs in the forest knew them, or maybe they were recognized by all the plants and animals if they chose to be in solitude. But if you're in a social matrix and you're vibrating in unity consciousness, you'll be recognized for that. And maybe people won't understand that's why you're being recognized, but that's the energetic vibration of why that's happening. I do see this literally card about this hermit in a cave. So some of your past life is really about when you tapped into this unity consciousness, but you were choosing isolation. And perhaps this came through with these lifetimes where when you really did express yourself, that you were punished for it. Let me try to get a good understanding of this. And I feel like those lifetimes where you were persecuted for truly expressing yourself through that density of reality that you chose for specific reasons on an alchemical level. There were reasons that you chose that. And then after that, with an understanding that there's no chronological order to these things, but that actually caused some of these lifetimes where you chose to do that in freaking isolated caves. So that's kind of related, and now you're integrating all of that and mending those scenarios and timelines that played out, whether it was just a virtual playing out of these scenarios on the quantum realm, or if you truly did embody those incarnations. You're healing the personality, and you're going to learn how to attract abundance through these ways. Abundance seems to be a theme here. Okay, we have cleaning it up, go the distance, yang energy, clean it up. Sorry, this ring light is bothering me. Go the distance, taking action, yang energy. Did I say that about your reading, that you're going to be that consistent? Oh no, that was pile 1. Ooh, look at that. You have like 4 cards about time. This is time, tick tock. Then we have the card time, literally from another deck. Then we have take time out. Then we have watch and wait, and sweet results await. So there's a lot of cards about waiting and time, and you literally feel like you have no hope because you think that time is running out, and you're running the scenario of how you perceive time. Say that, for the sake of explanation, say that when you were 6 years old, you had this perception around what 10 years really means to you, or what you should be doing when you're 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old, 6 years old, whatever. And you're still running those narratives around what 1 year means, what 3 years means. Like, when you really experience time, and when you have cultivated a level of evolution in your energetic field, time has a completely different structure. And as the earth evolves, as the earth is continually evolving, so does the matrix of time that you experience on this planet. So one of the biggest messages that you're having here is to rewire your perception around time, and all of these thoughts that you have around time, and how you don't have enough time, and how if you're gonna do something, it should be done in this frame of time. So this is like the type of thinking that you have. It's like, well, if I'm meant to create this, then it must be done in this frame of time, because otherwise, and then you have all these mental constructs around why things need to unfold in a certain way. But we all know that your rational reasoning around how life should play out pales in comparison to the divine wisdom of divine timing and synchronicities. Like, you're not taking into account the power of synchronicities. You're literally thinking, well, I have to do this, that, and this, and that, and this, and that, and this, and that. So that's why things have to go in this order. But have you thought about the power of synchronicities and all of these things that you're laying out on a linear level? When there is synchronicity, it could literally lift itself up and synchronize on a vertical level instead of like a linear level. So it's like everything at once. It's sort of like if you think that you have to write an essay, I don't know, or you have to launch this project, and in your mind it's like, well, I need this many hours to research, I need this many hours to edit, I need this many hours to actually submit it. But what if everything aligns so that instead of thinking that you need to do 10 hours of research, with the assistance of synchronicities and divine timing, every move that you make is aligned, and that will just fold the time into this very efficient packet of effectiveness. So consider that synchronicity changes the nature of time, and have room for reality to unfold itself in a certain way that you're not really able to imagine. We have flexible. Oh, milk and honey. You're really coming into a blessed, sweet time. You have 2 cards of honey. And this for me, specifically at this point of time, speaks to me about nymph energy. And nymphs are creatures that seriously transcend time and space and are divine consciousness embodied in human form. So you have soulmate card, to the sea and mending. It's like you're just waiting for retirement. Like, that's what it feels like. That's a really good example of why you feel like everything needs to happen in a certain amount of time so that you have this sweet end result of retirement where you can enjoy everything that you created. But what if I told you that every single step of the process of this path will be like ultimate pleasure and bliss and realization, that you don't need to save the end result for the end, but you're gonna be integrating that into every step of the way. And it does look like you've just been waiting for this breakthrough to happen where you are totally and finally at peace, enjoying the bliss of everything. But as we all know, that is something that you could literally tune into from now. There's literally no single reason why you can't live from that space right now. You don't need a reason for that. You don't need to accomplish things for that to happen. When you come into a true realization of who and what you are, you have a reason to literally celebrate. And there's no single accomplishment in the world as a human that you can make that trumps the true nature of what you already are. And I know this life is tremendous, and it's one of the most exciting paradigms that we could possibly live through the multiverses is right here and right now. But at the same time, what you already are, the nature of who you are at the core, it pales in comparison in terms of the divinity and monumentalness of existence itself, that even if you flunked this life, you're already at a level of existence where that can't bother you at all. And even if you live this life with flying colors, you're still already the highest level of divinity. That, yeah, it's great, but do you realize what you are from the base level at all times? Like, this life is just an experience that you're experiencing, but who you are as the core truth of what you are is already the highest level of accomplishment that existence could possibly freaking make. And you're the living existence of that. Okay, so let me go into deep sea diving, way of the mystic, learning through experiencing depths. Into the unknown, underworld depth, courage, facing your fears, and let it go. Release the past. You have another card about releasing your past. So this is really big. Like, you really need to let go of the past. And you can let go of the past right now by just being willing and open to let go of everything that happened in your life until now. Literally, you're walking around with this burden of the past, whether you realize it or not. And you may think yourself like, oh, I've already healed from the past, I already forgave everything. But honey, you have this burden of the past that you're carrying around literally everywhere. And you have to just be willing to let go of that and see what happens. I think part of you is literally afraid what's going to happen if you energetically let go of the past. Because you've never been in that space, maybe momentarily, but you never lived a prolonged set of time without letting go of that. Because there's a part of you that has this very strange relationship to time, and there's a part of you that doesn't trust that if you just let go of everything from the past, you'll still be exactly who you are, but better, but more refined, but more pure. And rationally speaking, of course, you'll agree with me, but there's a subconscious fear that if you just let go of everything that happened in the past, just let it go and flush, even your past lifetimes and even your ancestral kind of inheritance of the past, of all of the past. There is some intelligence of the universe that will still hold you in place. You're not going to lose a sense of who you are. Anything that is the true essence of who you are cannot be lost. And there's two cards about depth. You have repeating messages over and over with multiple different symbolism. But I feel that you're gonna dive into the depths of your consciousness in this upcoming cycle, and it kind of frightens you, and I'm not sure how this is gonna happen. For each person, it's gonna be different. Perhaps it is through releasing the past. Perhaps it is really through expressing yourself and glowing up in terms of your light and amplifying your light to a degree that you haven't felt safe enough to do in this lifetime yet. Perhaps it is to open to the level of abundance that is streaming through from that. Perhaps it is through reperceiving the nature of time as it shows here and really surrendering into the synchronicities of how things can be. Perhaps it is through just living in this state of bliss, even though you don't necessarily have all of the logical reasons why. Why should you celebrate as if your biggest dreams have already come true? That's like a part of the reasoning that is like in the back of your mind, but it's like, just have to dive into that and see what happens. Have you ever tried that? this is part of your path in this new paradigm. And this is going to open you up to levels of consciousness that you previously did not have access to. But what occurs as a result of this is something you're going to get to find out. I mean, I know what it's going to create for you in your life energetically, but you're going to get to find out for yourself. So there's a deep dive into your gifts, your abilities, your realms of consciousness, the levels of your mind, and these gifts and abilities that you have, I feel, are activating. And the final stages of this leading up to this big portal that you're going to ride through this wave. And it's already happening, but I'm just assisting you by articulating this. It's to let go of the past, reperceive time, and dive into the bliss that already is available for you regardless of the circumstances. All right, I hope that this reading was helpful. Thank you so much for receiving this transmission and spending time with me. And I will see you in another pile or in another reading. Lots of love. Bye. Hello, beautiful Starseeds who chose pile number 3, which is the fairy deck. Let's start your reading. So some of the cards are pre-shuffled and some of the cards I will shuffle as I go. That's the way I like to do it. Okay, so I'm going to start with the fairy cards. Protect your business, marriage. Whoa, what kind of stuff is this? Practice, practice, practice. What? Okay, there's like love life here, marriage. For some, this is really around divine union, but this is intricately connected with your work, your mission, your business, and your individuality. So from a standpoint of, for the lack of a better term, twin flame would be a good label to put with this, even though we kind of love and hate that word, I think, because it comes with so many different connotations. But really, when I say twin flame in this context, it's really around somebody who is aligned to your soul's mission, that is able to be in that space of divine union and soul mission all married together, that is going to assist you in really clarifying your individual expression. And it has a lot to do with your spiritual path. I feel like your birthday next year, just 2024 birthday, is going to be a very significant turnaround for a lot of this to materialize, and where a lot of your desires are going to fulfill themselves. And this could be around the time where you've already really established this solid reciprocity with this divine union, whether you're already in a divine unionship and it deepens to a next level, or that you're going to actually meet somebody that is going to be playing this role for you. Let's see. Oh, I have yet to... Ooh. White Raven Spirit, trust in magic. Swan Spirit, time for a deep dive. You have 2 birds here. Oh my gosh. Dragon Spirit, truth transcends illusion. Snake Spirit, time to heal. Then we have protection, finding what's important. Oh, ring light. Rebel, revolutionary. I really like this energy. Element of fire, passion, enthusiasm, creation. The moon, evolution, simplicity, the animal kingdom. And severity, might, discipline, karma. Then we have this Phoenix card, transformation, and then we have breakthrough. So the theme is breaking through every obstacle and limitations. It's like Phoenix rising from the ashes and breaking through. That's a very intense pair of becoming someone that you were always meant to be, but you didn't realize how that was possibly going to happen. And your soul's path and your soul's mission is pretty revolutionary. That's why it takes a radical breakthrough in who you are to really come to this level. And I feel that you're really tapping into what it is that you're best meant to serve this planet. Even if you're already in your purpose, I feel like you're really refining your purpose and your soul's mission into something in different ways and specializing in a way that really sets you apart from how everybody else is doing it. Ooh, we have the Star card. Four of Wands. I cannot deny the fact that your cards keep coming up with this divine union, this happy family situation. You could even have children if that's something that you want to do. If that's not something that you want to do, I would be careful not to make that happen. Because their energy is very fertile, that's why. Two of Pentacles. Regeneration, never-ending story. Yeah, so this never-ending story is what you're breaking through from. So there's some things that you felt like was never going anywhere, like literally entrapment. There are some areas of your life where you felt like no matter what you did, it just doesn't progress. And this is the time where you're literally gonna experience a breakthrough and this level of transformation that is burning from the ashes and arising anew as a revolutionary new expression of who you are. And part of the reason why you really went through this energy of never-ending cycles and being entrapped into a certain way of being and then experiencing this breakthrough is that this is the exact energy that is medicinal for your service. Like having gone through this paradigm of things being stuck in a place where you just couldn't really figure out, but you kind of continue consistently to devote yourself to the breakthrough of it, to the transformation of it, and then you experience the actual breakthrough and transformation, you're gonna be able to embody that energy of there's a lot of situations, circumstances, people in the world that are stuck in this never-ending cycle, never-ending story. No matter what they try, just the limitations are there. It's like you could try your best to figure out and go through that, but it's the limitations themselves that you're learning that it's not about what is that limitation, where did it come from, but the concept and the energetic dynamics of limitations themselves that you learn how to break through. So no matter what obstacles lay in the future or in the path ever again, you understand how limitations work and how to break through from any limitations. Limitations have an overall group consciousness. For the lack of a better word, there's a common consciousness or parameter of what limitations are. And you can think of them as like subconscious blockages, environmental factors, or ancestral kind of inheritance of these limitations, or you could put a billion different labels and causes to why limitations happen, or you can rise above all of that and understand limitations on a contextual level and understand how to energetically break through from that on a sovereign level. And this is like a revolution in itself. So that's that. But I do want to read into why there's so many energies around a divine union. So part of the message, wow. We have the Fool card, Empress, and the Five of Cups. So part of the reason why I feel like this relationship is so interconnected with your path and your service and your embodiment is because relationships are primarily one of the most consensual agreement on how limitations are placed upon life. So whatever the relationships are, there are very few relationships in the history of humanity where it truly supported freedom or it truly supported unconditional love. It's very rare to come across those archetypes of relationships, and they're out there, but that should ideally be the norm of union, the norm of relationships. It should be liberating, it should be freedom, it should be love. So part of why this relationship that you're going to start to embody as this divine union that is in alignment with harmonic frequencies of all aspects of life, and not just in one area, but in all areas, including your business, including your service, including your mission, including your individuality, including your ability to generate this new paradigm of reality, is that that's part of the way that you're going to embody and anchor into the wisdom of your freedom, the wisdom of your breakthrough, is by being a living example of how you even have relationships that defy all odds of gravity. And when I say gravity, I just mean like the pull of the morphic way that relationships are set up. And you're going to experience and co-create a dynamic in your divine union, how it gets to be for you and how you get to break through all of the limitations when it comes to our previous notions of how relationships work on the human level. Let me go into this. So right now, as we speak, you are going through some treacherous times, like you're going through some tumultuous waves. And what you're being called to do is find the frequency of magic in your life and in your way of being, and in your consciousness. You have a very strong connection with the frequency of magic. Magic in itself has a frequency. Just like how I said, limitations themselves, the very construct of limitations has a group field, has like a hive mind, how limitations operate. It's a parameter or a function of reality that has this commonality underneath it. And so does magic. So does faith. So you have an actual very deep connection with magic. And just to detach from all of the extraneous ideas that we associate with magic. I mean, there's so many different types of magic. There's black magic, there's white magic, there's like chaos magic. There's all these different streams of magic. And let's just forget about all of it. I'm talking real divine magic. You have a very strong connection with divine magic. And from a perspective of higher dimensional living, so from a higher dimensional way of life, magic is the norm. Magic is like an inherent frequency in everything that you do. Magic is a natural byproduct of your existence on that level of frequency. And you have a very strong connection with that. You know how to actually embody that onto the physical plane. You know how to channel that. And that's kind of why this breakthrough transformation energy is so imminent in your field. And I feel that part of your path is to really learn to embody that level of magic through the animalistic way of being. So when I say animalistic, I mean just the very physical level of being, even down to your most instinctual, most primordial way of being has magic coursing through its blueprint. And it's just been distorted and shuffled with, but you know how to actually channel divine magic through the very animal part of life. And that is exactly the breakthrough that you are embodying through this next cycle. And how it is that you're gonna really get to live the life that you are almost destined to live is this frequency of magic that you get to remember from a very, very instinctual way of being. And having that remembrance is going to break you through those limitations. And this requires discipline. And discipline, it sounds like a bad word because it sounds boring. It sounds like it's forced. It sounds like something that you do in a 9-to-5 job. It sounds like something that you would do in college. But discipline, when it's applied to magic. So imagine you're just devoted to magic, divine magic. And imagine if no matter what your circumstances are, no matter how many limitations that you see ahead of you, you devote to the frequency of magic, divine magic that is inherent in your soul stream. Like you have many lifetimes where this way of wielding divine magic through the personal field of your individual expression of your oversoul has been a recurring theme. So you've been priestesses, you've been oracles, you've been witches, for the lack of a better word, or magicians. You know, you are recalling that way of being in this life. And until you really recall that from a visceral, instinctual level of waking up the magic in the cells of your body, waking up the magic through your lower chakras of your physical body, of your blood cells, of your elements in your body. This is why the limitations were there until you came to this moment where you wake that up on a tangible level, and you're going to just witness these breakthroughs and transformation rippling through your life, because this is what it took, and you're actually going to teach this. And this is part of your service. It's like a resurrection of the animal kingdom to the divine, pristine alignment, to the way that it was always meant to be. And I feel like you're going to break archetypes. You're going to break all the paradigms and the notions of what it means to be something, what it means to do something. You know, this card is, I believe it's Eve. Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people watching this is healing that relationship to the distorted feminine, whether it is like the Eve archetype, the Lilith archetype, the Magdalene archetype, and it could stretch into so many different archetypes of the feminine. She who flows, being open to change, go with the flow of life. Follow the stream. Dedication, trust, future rivers and oceans, and making waves. Momentum is building. It's your time. Achievement. So this has been a long time coming. This breakthrough through the limitations has been a long time coming. But there is a part of you that's been questioning your visions. Like, you're very intuitive. You receive visions. You receive prophetic visions, actually. And there's part of you that's literally in doubt of that. It's like, are these illusions? Are these delusions? Like, because you haven't fully embodied the degree of this life force or this divine intuitive magic to the cells of your being or the fabric of your existence as a physical being, this animalistic plane of existence. I mean, you have a strong connection to it, but you have yet to really stabilize that in. And first of all, the visions that you received are sacred. You have to devote to these visions that you receive and understand that these visions wouldn't come to you unless this was part of your path. And unless you were a divine conduit of that vision, it wouldn't come to you. And I understand that people could receive delusional visions if they're delusional. And I've seen a lot of people who are completely delusional receive delusional visions. But if you're honest, the types of people who receive delusional visions are blatantly delusional about reality as well. So that they're the type of people who are super easily manipulated in physical life. It's not just in the vision state, but in the 3D material reality. They're the type of people who could be easily deceived, or they're totally bypassing certain details of life, or that they're just lacking discernment in the choices that they make in real life. So yeah, in that case, they receive delusional visions. But if you're honest with yourself, are you the type of person who's very easy to manipulate? Are you the type of person who has strong discernment? Do you have boundaries? Do you evolve? So if the answer is that you are not delusional in real life, then the visions that you receive are not delusional either. But if you're really honest with yourself and you're the type of person who has a lot of false light templates, and it's tricky because when somebody's running a lot of false light templates, rarely do they know it. But I think that you know if you're not. You know when you're pure. You know when you're pure because it's like just this deep connection that you have with source. And if you're the type of person who gets a lot of original, authentic downloads and it's not taken from somebody else, and that's the other thing too, the people who receive delusional visions, they don't really have authentic, original ideas. They kind of siphon it off of other people, sometimes without even realizing. So if you can truly look at your life and the quality of the downloads that you receive, and they're authentic and they're not taken from somebody else, or it's not something that you read somewhere, that you hear somewhere. Of course, external material can be a support system for you to decode what you receive. But if you have that authentic connection, then your visions are true, and don't doubt your visions. That's part of how the false light templates kind of operate. And what I've realized is that, you know, false light entities, it's not something to be feared, but you really have to learn how it works. Sometimes when you have this pure idea or this pure vision that you receive, false light templates will attack or attach itself to other people in your environment who are delusional and give them like this sense of the similar vision so that you'll start doubting your own vision or your own receptivity. And don't let that create doubt in your field. Just understand that there's so many different ways that these false light reflections can occur, and this is one of the ways. So when you know that a vision is purely received, do not doubt it. I see that you're very intuitive. You have a lot of oracle capabilities, and you have this conduit to a higher level of intelligence, and you are receiving all these, you know, mixed messages that you doubt yourself. But this is one of the things that you're going to learn to do, is trust yourself. Be very clear. And when you have this intention to trust yourself, no matter how foggy or confusing a situation is, you are dedicated to trust. And this is the type of discipline that really matters. It's not about, oh, I get up at this hour and I do all of these routines. That's could be discipline, but the higher level of discipline is like, are you committed to the frequency of trust? Are you committed to the frequency of love? Are you committed to the frequency of purity? Are you committed to show up as the highest version of yourself no matter what comes in your life? Are you committed to your highest self? And this is one of the things. Are you committed to trust? Are you committed to clarity? Because even if there's all these situations that make you doubt something or that make you fear something, if you know that your priority, what is important to you, is the vibratory harmonics of trust, then you choose trust and you don't buy into the doubt. You don't buy into the confusion. If you run thought loops that generate doubt and confusion, you're able to just observe it and you're able to let it flow and run like, okay, here's all of the things that are doubtful and confusing, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, I choose trust. And when you're able to stabilize yourself in that priority, then all of those doubtful frequencies will have no choice but to dissolve. It'll recalibrate itself so that the choices are clear because you commit to clarity, you commit to trust. If you buy into the endless loop of confusion and decision fatigue, which is very much the noises in our reality that we're accustomed to, because even if you go on YouTube and even if you go on Instagram, or even if you try to choose something to consume, like which restaurant do you go to? What food do you order? There are 1,000 different options. And it's just like that frequency of scattered noise is what you have to learn to dismiss and dissolve and choose clarity and choose trust and choose to not let the scatter and the noise be a constant running frequency in your life. Even your thoughts, it's like, is it scattered? Is it harmonic? Is it unified into a higher pattern of being, or is it just a bunch of scattered thoughts? And you can't stop those from happening because you're human and you are resonating in this morphic field. And let's say that even if you were committed to clarity and pristine, clear perspectives, you know, the rest of humanity will be running all of these frequencies of thoughts, and then you'll catch it in your field sometimes, and you just have to choose like, okay, that has all the right to exist, but I'm just not gonna let that amplify my field. I'm gonna let that flow. I'm gonna observe it. And at the end of the day, no matter how confusing it seems to be, I'm going to choose to vibrate in clarity. I'm going to choose to vibrate in discernment. I'm going to choose to vibrate in trust. And no amount of illusory scatteredness can take you away from trust. No amount of scattered delusions can take you away from that devotion and this clarity that is important to you. So when you trust and when you commit to the frequency of clarity, unconditional clarity, so even if things feel foggy, you choose to vibrate in clarity, then the way will pave itself clear. So that's the thing. And I also want to share with you, I've been watching True Blood, and True Blood is full of symbols, and yeah, like it's violent and sometimes it's a little too dramatic, and you need to kind of like not binge on it so that it's in little doses, because it is so adrenaline inducing and histamine inducing, and it's a lot to handle to watch a show like that. I don't know if you know True Blood, maybe some people know it. It's like this vampire, fairy, werewolf, mystical creatures HBO show that I loved so much when I was in college that I literally wrote essays about them, because I used to be in this like really cool major where that's the type of stuff I got to do. And it's very profound. The messages and the symbolism in there is very, very profound, even with like religion and stuff. So in the later seasons, I don't know if it's like, it's not in the beginning season, but in the later seasons, one of the protagonist vampires goes through this very sacred, visionary ceremony and receiving this vision of being the conduit of that divinity. And it was so profound. The metaphysical implications of what is being shown there, of the ceremony, of consuming an element, I guess, like what you can call it as an element. You know, what a lot of people can drink plant medicine, for example, and receive visions, and sometimes it's confusing and sometimes it feels so real. But it turns out that the vision was given to everyone who drank. But what mattered was what the person receiving the vision did about it. So basically in this show, I'm sorry if you're going to watch it or like, I'm like sharing all this, but I think it's important for me to share the message of this. So basically Lilith gave a prophecy to everyone who drank that concoction. So there was about like few people who actually received that vision, that they were this chosen conduit of Lilith consciousness that is here to resurrect in this life. And every single person received that they were chosen for that. But at the end of the day, the purpose of that vision was what the receiver did about it. So the vision is a very, very intricate, sacred realm of language and communion from the unseen to your manifest reality. And you don't have to take the vision necessarily at face value. And that could possibly be one of the most dangerous things to do, is just to take everything at face value. But it's what you do with it and how you interpret it and what you allow it to mean for you. And sometimes you have to co-create what it means for you. Instead of just being in the receptive mode, you need to tune into the truth of yourself and discern, what will I allow this to mean for me? So if you're receiving a lot of information, too many downloads, too many frequencies from everywhere, then you need to choose clarity. And if by any chance you receive information or frequencies or visions that cause a lot of confusion or cause a lot of inner conflict, then you have to set the boundaries and tell yourself, okay, well, now is not the time to figure this out. Because when it's the right alignment where you get to figure out what it really means for you, it shouldn't be causing that level of confusion. So you can just kind of like put it in the back of your mind, but don't let it consume your present. You have something else to focus on at the present. So I hope this helps you. Feels like that was important for a lot of you to hear. So thank you so much for receiving these transmissions and spending time with me. If you're choosing another pile, I'll see you in the other pile or another reading. Sending lots of love, and I'll see you later. Bye. Hello, beautiful Starseeds who chose pile number 4. You chose this Gateway of Light Activation Oracle. I think I called it a portal deck, but that's kind of what it is. So let's get into your reading. I've pre-shuffled some of the cards, but a lot of them I'll just go as we read. So let me start out with this. I'm gonna pull 3 cards. We have Pleiadian Activation. Please watch pile number 1 if you have the time for that. If not, it's fine, but it's there. You'll understand why I say that. Then we have Soul Star Activation. I'm really liking the vibe. And then we have Crown Chakra Update. So your spiritual centers are being bombarded with new interfaces of consciousness. So if you feel like you can't do much on a physical plane and you need to rest and you're not as productive as you would like to be, just cut yourself a slack. We have Sirius Star Blessings as well. So Sirian, Pleiadian, extraterrestrial. Oh, I love this energy. I just love extraterrestrial consciousness. It's just, we have immense growth, abundance. This is like an immense growth in your abundance. And that's makes sense to me, because the more sophisticated level of consciousness that you really activate, the more abundance that you'll align with, because that's just the nature of reality. And please don't get offended if you're at a level where you're still working out that abundance stuff. It doesn't mean that you don't have access to these higher levels of consciousness, but it does mean that you are learning to integrate it to your physical being. So don't get offended. It doesn't mean, that you're not advanced if you are still working through the abundance stuff, but just know that it will happen when you integrate that level of consciousness to your animalistic body, physical intelligence of being. We have another card of abundance. Look at this. This is Fortune Quest Abundance. Then we have Leap of Faith, Freedom, Trust. So this is the type of abundance that is just liberating you. And wow, it's just so nice. You even have this spiritual triangle, which is like the upper triangle of this tree of life, that your reading is just packed and overflowing with so much spiritual energy. And let's see what else is there. Otter Spirit, you are never alone. Groundhog Spirit, time to let go. Whale Spirit, trust the great mystery. Sandpiper Spirit, be playful. Canary Spirit, sing your own song. So there's a lot of yellow golden energy as well. So I see there's a profound healing of your solar plexus chakra and truly getting aligned with the stellar codes that you emit through your solar plexus. And I personally feel like with the chakra system and the advanced Starseeds versus like the human chakra system, there's a lot of kind of variations of how this kind of like the 7th chakra system is a little bit different from the way that we perceive it for all humans. And yes, the 7th chakra system is still active in the advanced Starseed or the extraterrestrial hybrid, but there's variations of it that is a little bit slightly different. And one of those that I think I taught this in my Patreon community maybe a few years ago, but it is that your solar plexus is actually emanating codes of your origin stellar network as well. And that is not very integrated into the understanding of that chakra system when we tune into that. But one of the kind of limitations that you can face with just accepting the traditional chakra system without really being curious to how it can differ for an extraterrestrial hybrid, which would make sense if they would have a slightly different system of chakric expressions, is that your solar plexus emanates codes of your different stellar networks. We have desert, solitude, and it's interesting because you have here the card of you are never alone, and then you have solitude. So it does seem like in this next phase of paradigm, you're gonna find yourself in situations that you're alone a lot, but you are literally never alone. And this not only works in the spiritual realm, but I feel like you're gonna get a really good network of acquaintances and friends that you're very much safe with, that you don't have to always constantly keep in touch, but you know that they're just there for you, and that their existence and just being acquainted with them creates this very loving bandwidth that you just don't feel alone anymore on the earth, even if you find yourself to be spending a lot of time alone. We have Kali Ma, fierce love. And miracle, making a difference. Wow, your reading is giving me overwhelming energy. Cleansing, releasing the old, energetic tune-up, and new beginnings. So right now you may be experiencing a lot of purge, especially actually even in your spiritual configuration. So some of the spiritual beliefs that you held consciously or unconsciously, or even like the subconscious imagery that you take on from even the new age community is very intense. And I don't want to install any sense of fear around that, but it is true that even the new age community or just traditional religion implants a lot of these symbols in your spiritual field that create constructs or false light templates. So even if you're not religious at all, but you're just aware of religious narratives and what happens, even astrology, which is not a religion, but like it creates all these archetypes and symbols, even tarot cards, the macrocosmic energies of tarot cards, they create all these spiritual imprints. And I feel like you're getting this very, very high level clearing around your spiritual configuration to make space for this genuine, authentic, dimensional connection. We have the rainbow, sweet relief, new beginnings, a new way forward. And this is paving path for your new paradigm of existence. The water oracle, psychic abilities, acting on visions, it's destined. The wellspring, what are you thirsty for? Body care, take a breath. So I believe that through this next cycle, there's great abundance that is activating, right? And there's this frequency of miracles and all of these galactic consciousness that is beginning to anchor in through your system. And you're being called to step in as an oracle. So being consciously aware that you traverse through dimensions and realms. And yeah, you probably knew this about yourself before, but you're actually going to implement this into every single day of your life and everything that you do, whether it is like practical, grounded things that you do, even the stuff that you eat, or even if you have a profession that is not related to being an oracle, even if you work at a financial industry, or even if you run a business or doing very, very, very grounded things, you're gonna start to integrate your role as an oracle of being able to be a conduit of all of these extra dimensional, extraterrestrial energies. And you're gonna have these remembrances to the very detailed aspects of these life forms. So even if you had these connections to the Pleiadian consciousness or Arcturian consciousness, Sirian consciousness, whatever civilizations that you're connected to, Lyran consciousness, Orion consciousness, and perhaps you had all of those frequencies active, but you're gonna actually start to receive the details of that way of life, literally like the healthcare system on the Pleiadian manifest life forms, or the healing systems of these Arcturian manifest life forms, like actual details of the way that these civilizations are set up, even on a mothership where there's different extraterrestrial species coexisting. And you're going to start to bring this through, and these new technologies and these new possible systems of life. And this is part of what you're beginning to channel. And the thing with that is, you used to not be able to tune into these details because it would have caused so much pain to remember those details and find yourself in this reality, in this healthcare system, in this economic system, in this society, in this political configuration of the earth. But the reason why you're starting to remember now and that you'll receive these gifts, even if you don't have that level of insight or visions, you're going to start activating them in this next cycle. So even if you don't have clairvoyance, or even if you don't have like blast out psychic abilities open, you're actually going to start being a clear conduit of these higher dimensional messages and these visions. And the reason why now is that as a collective, the earth is getting closer and closer into achieving its own expression of this higher dimensional way of life. And so if you start to remember it now, rather than say like 10 years ago, 5 years ago, it's not going to pain you that much at this point, because we're actually in the process of realizing that on earth, and you're one of the conscious dreamers that is going to activate into this. And whatever work that you do, it is going to be a conduit of all of these frequencies. Even if you think it's unrelated, you're actually going to emit frequencies of this higher way of civilization, of this higher way of life. And when you provide that much of a divine service, it creates immense abundance. And that is part of your new paradigm. And because the time is near, it's literally going to be in the next decade where earthly civilizations reconfigure themselves to a new way of life. And I know it's hard to believe, like, what's going to happen in 10 years? So much is going to happen in 10 years. And part of that shift is that oracles such as you is becoming active now to consciously dream this and weave this into your reality. And it's so powerful that these ancient souls are beginning to wake up, and you were literally sleeping until now relatively to the extent of your potentials. I'm sure you were awake, but relatively to your potentials, you were still asleep. So you're waking up to all of these higher dimensional configurations of life, and you're going to start to bring this through into your creative endeavors and your projects and your way of life. And for the next couple of years, it might be a little less obvious, but understand this is what you're doing, and you're creating these frequencies of miracles through this, because all these higher dimensional ways of life is literally miraculous as you remember the systems of reality manifest on a physical plane that is possible when the stellar configurations are attuned to the great central sun, and the greatest central sun, when it's all in harmonic alignment, it has no choice but to manifest in such a harmonic civilization. And you're recalling that way of life, and you're going to recall the frequency of what that's like to exist in that level of civilization, and you're going to recall the details, and then you're going to live from that remembrance. And it doesn't pain you to remember these at this point, because you know this is what you're beginning to create. I feel like previously you had a lot of stuff to deal with, a lot of evolutions, a lot of releasing to do. I feel like you're still releasing a lot. I feel like you're still purging a lot, cleansing a lot. But you're at that sweet space where enough space has been created for you to like just plunge, dive in. We have the Pearl Alchemy reward at the end. Okay, I think one more card. Planetary Wave, Soul Mission, Trust the Inner Called Soul Team. So know that I think that you're going to start to literally laugh when you realize how much of a intimate connection that you have with these galactic teams and these galactic civilizations. The amount of love that you have and that you receive from your galactic team, whether it's like the Palladian collective that you're connected with, the Syrian collective, the Arcturian collective, the Lyran collective, Orion collective, you know, whatever. The level of intimacy that you have with these galactic realms is so deep and profound that as you wake up to this and at this level, realizing that this isn't imagination, this is really, really real, that someday in the near future, it's actually going to materialize onto the physical plane, that you get to just interact with these levels of galactic consciousness. I feel like your life is going to turn from black and white to like a hyper dimensional color. Ouch. What's going on here? Okay. This is the Five of Swords. Whoa. I feel like you're at the stages of healing your relationship with demonic forces. I know how that sounds, but you're gonna learn to utilize these distortions of reality instead of be afraid of it, or instead of feel victim to it. You're gonna rise above this level of polarity and understand how to utilize these distortions to vibrate back into harmony and create a level of existence that transcends this level of division and separation that is the reason why it is so dense from the first place. And here at the bottom of the deck, you also have the cosmic ocean, current dreams, future realities, new beginnings. So I literally see you dreaming the future reality into the present. And it's not just about your personal reality, but this collective possibility. And I feel like you're the type of soul that is so aware of the nature of reality that if someone were to just tell you that you can live your dream reality among the level of collective distortions and this state of society as it has been, where there's so much divide, so much separation, and so much percentage of the population that is suffering. But if someone were to give you the option of just living the life of your dreams among this landscape, I feel like you're not gonna like that option. Like, you're the person who would be driven to thrive within a thriving society itself. So actually, the element that is going to catapult you into tap into the truest potential of your personal reality is to set up this broader context of a thriving civilization. So if you're just about to manifest a personal ideal reality upon this landscape of everything that is going on in the human collective, you're not that motivated. And it might be very healing for you to hear this from me, because you likely didn't even realize that about yourself. But when you tap into this broader collective utopia that is possible and that is inevitable as you dream into this, because it is a reality that is going to come online and activate. That is the nature of evolution. That is the nature of alchemy. That is the nature of ascension. It's not just personal ascension, but there is a collective ascension. And I'm not saying that everyone is going to live in that type of reality, but things are going to get reshuffled so that there is a collective reality that exemplifies this alchemized way of harmonic collective consensus reality. And when you tap into this collective reality that you get to remember from your cells, from your spiritual downloads of what life gets to be on a collective level, this just clicks into place all of your personal desires, because that's the condition in which you would want to live your best life. Does that make sense? We have higher power, and the last card is go the distance and chaos and conflict. So right now I see you just split into a lot of different directions, and you're going through this phase of recalibration where you feel like a lot of things are falling apart. But through those cracks, you're going to find these higher level downloads. And as you get to learn to stabilize this, take great care of your body and just activate all the sensitivity through your physical being. For you, literally, the collective reality and the state of collective reality feels so sensitive to your personal existence that, you know that saying where if there's a wound in your right toe, the rest of your body is not at peace because your body is one single organism. And that's kind of the case with humanity as well. And a lot of the different body parts are completely disconnected and numb to the wound on the right toe, as you know, as a metaphor. But you're the type of energetic circuitry that is so aware of everything that's going on in humanity. And sometimes that's part of why you don't feel your best, even if you're living a really great life. If that happens to be your case, where sometimes it's like everything seems to be fine, but something is bothering you. Sometimes it's really about this collective field. And now that you're starting to remember that you actually get to contribute to the alchemy of the collective ascension, you're gonna find all levels of activation and motivation and this true, genuine inspiration through your life that you haven't even been able to tap into before. That is that divine will that just penetrates through all the obstacles and alchemizes through all of the limitations and the delusions that kept you feeling stagnant. There's two cards of the Fool. You have the Fool twice. So you're getting a brand new, fresh, new beginning in something that you've been trying at for a long time. And it had this kind of energy of stagnancy and not working out and just not coming into place together. But as you tap into this collective co-creation of reality, you get a fresh start in this aspect of your life, whatever this aspect of your life is, or maybe it's just a general paradigm of how you feel around reality. There's gonna be this complete new beginning. And what the energies are at the moment as you approach this, and it's just a few days away from 11/11 right now. And again, this is a timeless reading, so whenever you're watching this, it's interweaved with the energetics coming through the 11/11 through the plasma codes. But essentially, I feel like you're at these purging stages of the deepest core wounds of your sensitivity to the collective matrix, and you are purging that out to invite in a new harmonic of collective existence. And so that's actually what's happening. So trust the unfoldment and know that things are about to get really, 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 really good. And you're receiving a lot of spiritual calibrations and downloads. So take a break, take the rest, and prioritize self-care at the moment, because also you're taking care of your body, because this is a very intense level of work that you are doing. Okay, I hope that this reading has been helpful. Thank you so much for receiving the transmissions and spending time with me. If you're choosing another pile, maybe I'll see you in the other pile, or I'll see you in another reading. Sending lots of love. Bye.